There's always that one coworker who really gets under your skin. It may be someone who's a team member, a boss, or sometimes even a junior. They do things to make them seem like they are better than you. Sometimes it even becomes manipulative. This causes a lot of internal strain and tension, and it impacts an ambitious professional's ability to do well at his office place. If this is something that resonates with you, you're going to want to stick around for this entire conversation. We're going to be unpacking exactly why this happens and how you can prevent it from impacting your internal peace too much. So, watch this video till the end, where you will be also getting a specific exercise that you can start using to almost instantly start feeling a little relief and managing such situations better. You may also want to save this video so that you can come back to it and watch it later. Let's unpack this now. Some examples of such challenges include that one coworker who always has an opinion about something. They're always appearing verbally active, and yet when it comes time to show the output, they really, you can make out actually that they really haven't had much to contribute. The challenging thing over here is they still seem to get by following the same approach again and again. They even probably sometimes get promoted and they are rewarded more. And this creates a lot of tension within you. You start wondering, why is this happening? I am the one who's dedicatedly doing so much work, and how come this other person is getting by with more? Another possible situation is a team member, or maybe even some member from another team, or even a supervisor that appears to be in line with you. They act as your friend. In private, they even speak to you nicely, and you seem to be in alignment. And yet, when an opportunity arises to somehow show that they are better than you in front of management or more senior leaders, or just in your own group, you notice that they do not miss an opportunity. And over there, it seems really, really confusing to you, and you almost feel let down, angry. This difference between how they are appearing to you and how they are probably actually is what creates that massive strain inside of you. Now, let's understand one thing over here. Essentially, these are examples of what people refer to as office place politics, toxic co-workers, and even toxic cultures and manipulative environments at the office place. The reason or the mechanism of how and why this really impacts you is as follows. It's not that you are wrong in experiencing this tension when this happens. It's really very normal to feel manipulated when you are a victim of such kind of office place politics. So, while we're trying to understand how to deal with this and to prevent ourselves from internally really feeling extremely disturbed by this, I also want you to understand that there's nothing wrong in what you are feeling. It's really normal in such a situation. However, allowing it to disturb your peace for half a day, an entire day, and in the long run, for even more times. That is something that is manageable and reducible. So, in order to achieve that particular output, we are we are here to understand first the mechanics of why this is really happening. So, we've highlighted few behavioral examples just now, where we spoke about an employee a co-worker who appears to be really, really busy, and yet you know they're not performing. And a co-worker who doesn't take or step back from showing that they are maybe doing more than you when an opportunity arises. In these examples, the behavior is clear to you. You know that this is when you start feeling impacted, when that particular coworker behaves this way. So the what I'm saying is the challenge is not that they are behaving in a particular way. The real strain comes because there is an additional layer on top of that, which is how we actually expect them to behave, or in general, how we expect people normally, generally to behave, which is the hidden layer that actually causes that massive tension. Think of it this way: if everybody behaved exactly the way you want, even if that meant that you approved of showing that you are better than somebody else, that particular behavior may not really impact you. Think about this. If this is making sense to you, even write in the comments below. Me and my team always respond to everybody. Let me share some interesting data with you at this point. I have it here in front of me. A study by Harvard Business Review on workplace dynamics. It revealed, now hear this closely, 98% of professionals experience uncivil behavior at work. Let me repeat that for you. 98% people experience uncivil behavior at work, with 8% losing work time worrying about that incident. That means it's not just you. On an average, 80% people think about that troubling incident with the coworker for more time, for time after which that incident has even gone and is over. And finally, 63% lose work time attempting to avoid that particular challenging coworker, or as the review termed, the offender. I'm sure this is helping you to understand that this is not a unique phenomenon, and it's not something that only you or a handful of people are experiencing. This is real in the corporate world, in the professional world. And I would like to share with you at this point that even I was a victim of this, and it disturbed me significantly. I at times felt isolated in my own team, and this is roughly about 14 years ago as of date, when I was actually working in the corporate world before I became a coach. So I know this feeling, I realize it, and I can feel your pain. At this point, it becomes now important to understand how do we protect ourselves from this kind of behavior, from, or rather more specifically, the impact of this kind of behavior. How do we reclaim our peace in such situations? Before I share this with you, it's important for me to lay a disclaimer that helping yourself not get affected by these situations does not mean that you ignore the gravity of the situation. If you are being really harassed at work, if you are a victim of serious professional risk, if you feel violated significantly, it does not mean that you cannot use the appropriate legal channels in your organization to prevent this from happening. That's completely separate. Here, we are trying to unpack how to prevent such situations from affecting you internally too much. Make sense? So let's unpack that now. In my work with global ambitious professionals across the world, with the bulletproofing happiness framework, we have successfully reduced these kind of strains by using one particular method called the expectation audit. Let me walk you through that today so that you can start applying it straight away. Basically, the logic behind this is whenever, and in fact, this is applicable not just in a workplace relationship, even in a personal relationship, for example. When we recognize that a particular behavior is triggering us, we're thinking about it long after it's over, it's creating a lot of tension within us, and we're even beginning to feel anxious about it happening again. What's really happening is that we are reliving that particular behavior again and again. And that behavior is exploding in our mind, and we are anticipating the effects of that behavior. And we are thinking about how it will repeat in the future. Which is fine, which is all fair. As we spoke some time ago, it's not just that behavior that is directly impacting us. We always interpret a particular behavior through the lens of how we expect a mature person to behave. For example, that particular coworker who's very nice with you in private and appears to be your friend, and then literally backstabs you when it suits him. That particular behavior challenges you so much, disturbs you so much, because it's completely different from what you expected that particular coworker to do, how to talk, how to behave. So, in other words, it's not alone that behavior coupled with what you expected from that person and why you didn't get that is the true source of the pain that these kind of situations cause and the challenge it creates inside of you, the tension it creates inside of you. So how do people use this expectation audit? How can you use it? Essentially, the steps of this method include, first of all, learning how to observe what is the specific behavior. And when we talk about observing that behavior, we're talking about isolating the facts of that behavior. When we do this, we are able to understand what is the actual thing that happened and how we were creating an expectation around that particular behavior. The second step is pinpointing what was our expectation of that person. In other words, that's the audit. First one is observing and the second one is auditing. What is it that I wanted that person to do? What is it that I thought a friend should do in this situation or a friendly coworker should do in this situation? Once you isolate that, you're much closer to understanding the complete dynamic of why you've been getting so disturbed. The final step in this method also helps you to regulate, which means you use the understanding that you've developed till now to see how can I move forward in my day without allowing this particular incident to rule my mental peace. How can I move forward while seeing how to prevent this from happening and also protecting my inner peace? How can I maintain my standards of work and not allow it to disturb my peace so much? This is a fantastic tool which has been used by professionals across the globe to really create not just a reduction in their internal tension due to office politics, manipulative behavior. It has also helped them to become more focused and productive in the middle of challenging working cultures. So now I have an exercise for you. In the next 1 week, whenever you feel that you are a victim of any kind of office place politics or a coworker is genuinely getting under your skin, allow yourself to take a pause. Notice that you're beginning to feel that tension and simply try to jot down, either by writing or mentally, what is the particular expectation layer that you had over that behavior. Just start noticing this and then feel free to even come back to us and we will help you to unpack this further. Now, to help you to summarize what we've done today, we've basically begun by recognizing that office place politics, a challenging coworker that gets under your skin, is really normal. It happens to a lot of people. We also understood the underlying mechanics, where we spoke about the difference between the actual observed behavior and the overlaid expectation, the overlayered expectation. And finally, how you can begin to overcome this. One sentence I would like to add over here is that when this expectation audit is coupled with just one more method from the bulletproofing happiness framework, which is called the self-awareness method, the results that you can get begin to really compound. Now, if all of this has resonated with you and it's making sense, it's important for me to help you to understand that stress in our life doesn't originate just from one source. And many a times, the way that we are impacted by our stress and tension is hidden. It's not very apparent also. So, if you want to understand the specific impact of stress on your life, head to the description below where you will find a link to something called the Stress Resilience Audit. Now, this is a professional grade complementary audit for ambitious professionals just like you, which has been created by me and my team after over a decade of having worked with people and understanding where the real sources of stress are. This audit will help you to identify what are your current stress leaks and what is its real impact on your life, which is a great starting point to becoming a resilient person and being able to manage and live your life and perform at your best. So watch this video again, try the exercise, do the stress resilience audit, and we will see you soon again. Bye for now.